Okay, so I watched BET's big panel discussion about the state of hip-hop last week, and it wasn't completely painful, but it was about 98% painful. These kind of shows always frustrate me because each side usually has a valid point. Each person is holding their piece of truth, but each of us is so fixated on our piece of truth and making sure it gets heard that none of us can take the next step of acknowledging everybody else's pieces and figuring out how all the pieces connect. So the conversation keeps going in circles. For example, two of the biggest pieces of this hip-hop puzzle, on the one side, every hip-hopper's personal responsibility for their individual choices. Then on the other side, the larger historical and societal context that informs those choices. Each of those pieces is valid, and we need to be able to look at both of them and figure out how they connect. But it's usually impossible for us to do that because we're all fixated on either one piece or the other. So on BET, we had Nelly over here, who was all about looking at the larger context, but didn't want to hear anything about the individual responsibility.
Do you think about yourself as someone who's setting a price on the black female body?
Well, first of all, the porn business is a $2 billion a year business. It's been here before hip-hop was here, and it's going to be here. Corporate America, every major hotel chain participates in pornography. You can go to any hotel right now, click on there, and order a movie.
Okay, yes, that's true. You're not the only person who does stuff. Other people also do other stuff, but that doesn't mean that you're not accountable for your stuff. So can we talk about your stuff?
It's a world thing. It's not just Nelly selling out. Did I go grab the sister and say, yo, you're being in my video whether you like it or not? No, we presented a job opportunity and they agreed, as adults do. They make choices. That's the country that we live in. We have the right to say yes or no.
Okay, yes. When you made that video where you stuck a credit card into some woman's butt crack, you and that woman were both making a choice. And that was a great celebration of American freedom. But we're not trying to debate the philosophical question of free will. We're just saying that whenever you make a choice, you're also responsible for the consequences of that choice. So we're trying to understand how you perceive the impact of your choices on your audience. But Nelly's not comfortable with going there because he doesn't trust the other side to give him a fair judgment. And that's understandable when the person on the other side is somebody like Stanley Crouch, who loves to talk all day about your personal choices, but never wants to hear a damn thing about the larger context.
Trying to obfuscate an individual wrong by enumerating a bunch of other ones doesn't have anything to do with the issue. If I go to attack her and she's fighting me off and I say, well, you know, there are a whole bunch of people in America who rape people, that doesn't change what I'm doing.
Okay, yes, excellent usage of obfuscate. But sometimes you really do have to look at what's over there so that you can understand what's happening over here. When Michael Eric Dyson points out the ubiquity of misogyny in America, he's not doing that to evade the issue of misogyny in hip-hop. He's saying that if we want to stop the cycle of hip-hoppers treating women like second-class citizens, we're going to have to acknowledge that that behavior is modeled for them in their families, in their churches, and in every other part of American society. And if we're not willing to address those larger issues, it doesn't matter whether we change Nelly's mind, because the next generation of Nellys is just going to fall into the same trap. It's kind of like if you have a virus that keeps making you break out in a rash. You could put on lotion as much as you want, but until you take some penicillin, the rash is just going to keep coming back. And that's the problem with these hip-hop discussions. One side never wants to take any penicillin, and the other side never wants to use any lotion. Hip-hop is never going to get healthy until we figure out how to look at our personal responsibility and look at the larger issues around it and deal with both of those at the same time. We've got to figure out how to use the lotion and the penicillin together. And this metaphor is making me nauseous, but I think you know what I'm talking about.